Hello everyone, my name is Rajesh Kumar and I'm your DevOps SRE DevSecOps coach. I have close to 18 plus years of experience working in multiple MNCs around the globe and having in-depth knowledge of DevOps, SRE and DevSecOps. So I would like to introduce you one certification program in a DevOps, and that is we call it DevOps Certified Professional. Now this is a 2 months of program, 25 tools of DevOps you will learn, and apart from that you will also get the access to the LMS, lifetime access to the videos portal. It's a certification program, and you will have 25 assignments and 2 projects along with it. It's a completely weekend program, so here you have classes on Saturday and Sunday. So as part of this course, you will learn multiple things. Here you see that you will learn Linux, AWS, Docker, Jira, Confluence, Python, Git with GitHub, SonarQube, Maven, Gradle, Packer, Artifactory, Selenium, JMeter, Ansible, Kubernetes, Helm, Terraform, Nginx, Datadog, Splunk, and Neuralink. Now, how do we, apply for this? So how can you reach out to us? So you have a WhatsApp number and email ID. So please reach out to us, and we'll help you to onboard this program. Apart from this DevOps certified professional programs, we are offering other certifications as well in a DevSecOps, SRE, and one of the very comprehensive programs which we have is in Master in DevOps Engineering. Yeah, so feel free to get in touch with us and then enroll for it. Thank you.
So etc Nginx configurations. Now this is the main configuration file for Nginx. This you have to learn in detail, and which I will cover in this session. Now this file which you see site available here, this will be the list of website configured through the Nginx. So you want to check this out right now. To default is there. Now this place list of website actively is being served by Nginx. Okay, and this is the log and error log. So this is access logs. That means who's accessing your web server through the browser. You can see the logs here under the var log Nginx, and this is the if you have any error log, you can see that here. Okay, so this is the installations and configuration locations. Now we need to understand this file in detail, and that is what I'm going to talk about right now. Are you comfortable so far?
Yes.
Okay, so now, yes, Nginx you can use as a web server, you can use as a reverse proxy, you can use as a load balancer, cache, web application firewall, DDoS attack, API gateway, uh, uh, ingress controller in Kubernetes, and sidecar proxy also. So many use cases which you have of Nginx depends on what you want to use it. So installing part we have shown you that how to do that. So in Ubuntu, same way if you want to install in Nginx in CentOS, follow this tutorial. If you come here and search for it Nginx, you'll get it. Now, understanding the configuration term is very important. So you
Hello,
have to
Rajesh,
understand.
can you?
Yeah.
I had one question about the earlier diagram. What is the difference between reverse proxy versus sidecar proxy?
So sidecar proxy, you can use it. Uh, See, sidecar proxy has this concept has come in the container world mainly. So what happens? Sidecar proxy where you are running uh, a pod in Kubernetes terms. I'm talking about and pod, and in that pod you have one container which is of applications. Now you want to do certain changes in the pod mainly for traffic, mainly for networking and all. Then you can run one more container which is kind of, you can call it a sidecar proxy. So application container will serve the traffic, but sidecar proxy container will update the some route tables or some networking headers, request headers, and so on, just like service mesh. So this will help you to manage the traffic effectively, secure the traffic, add some headers or something like that. So this This is mainly used in Kubernetes. If you look at it in a service mesh, like uh, is being used in the Istio and stuff like that. Okay, now reverse proxy is basically you are trying to create one bridge between the two servers, and you are getting a traffic to somewhere and transferring to somewhere. So you can consider that is as a reverse proxy. Sidecar proxy is also doing this almost same thing, but it's running with your applications, whereas a reverse proxy is running separately. Little bit of more discussion required on this part, but at a high level, did you understand that?
Yeah.
So now here we need to understand context and derivatives. So here the configuration file of Nginx, which you want to see here, go etc Nginx, Nginx, Nginx. I'm talking about this one. So here, if you see that few entries are here, events, HTTP settings, and pretty long file, and then some mail stuff and all. So this file you have this is divided into context and derivatives, combination of context and derivatives. Now the each Nginx configuration has the main context and then HTTP context. So HTTP context, HTTP context. Just now you see that here. This is the HTTP context, and this whole thing starting as a main context. So this is the context. So you see that how it's been divided. So everything in the file, which is a main context, and inside that you have event context, HTTP context, streams context. So stream context is not there in this file, it's not needed. But if you see that mail context is here, which is commented, and this line represent the commenting, okay, and hash an HTTP context, event context, and this is under the main context actually. So this whole thing's coming under the main context, by the way. So this is divided into context. So main context, HTTP context. So like that you have it. Now under the HTTP context, that's a major one. Okay, you have a some context server on upstreams, and inside the server you have a location also. So the main context is the very highest level where you declare the highest level derivative, such as number of worker process. That means how many requests you are supposed to receive and process that. The Linux username, the location of process PID file, and the location of log file. So some of the context, if you see here, uh, here you see. So this is the user which my Nginx will be running, and worker process auto, that means as many is allowed, and the PID for this will be stored in this location. So what is the PID? You can check this here, and this is the list of modules. Modules means list of additional functionality will be included, and that is here. So and then event related things and HTTP related things. So that's a main context. So the event context is used to define the connection processing directives. That is the number of connection assigned to each worker process. Now HTTP context to define how Nginx processes the HTTP and HTTPS connections. And for example, we can set up a pool of backend servers or applications. So here in HTTP sections, if you see, many things are there. Here you have HTTP settings, HTTPS settings, some what types of
So
files should be.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, I have one question about the previous slide where you say the number of worker you have mentioned. What does worker process like mean here in this particular server
See,
like configuration?
worker means see, uh, when you access the website, you
Yeah.
are the one person, one user, so you will become one worker. So here it will be creating in that one process of Nginx. So that will
So
be
number
one
of
worker. So let's say
exactly.
100, let's say 100 people are accessing that web server at that time. So 100 worker will be running in the background to serving that request. So
And
here how many
okay.
request worker means how many access. So when you see this process right now no one is accessing my server. But if you see that like this, if you grab this and Nginx like this, you will see that here right now one worker is running. So like that, more people will access this. So more worker will be running actually, and
What
this all worker will be running it with the help of master server. So let's say if you want to prove it, let's say server should not crash. Why? Because more worker will come. Let's say capacity is only 2 GB, maybe this can handle 20 requests at a time. So you want to set the limitations here. So in that case, you should set the numbers like 200 or 20 or something like that. Right now, it's auto means as many.
So is this something we have to identify ourselves, like how the usage is versus the request incoming request?
Yeah, you will have a proper testing scenarios, and then you'll say, okay, in my clusters, you have a 4 GB RAM and 2 CPU. So how many workers it can handle it for your applications? So you have a capabilities testing, and then will be setting up the benchmark for it, and then accordingly you set up the production server. Each production server you will configure this.
Understood. Thank you.
so when you say
So
workers, do you mean the users, the people that are going to be
uh,
using it?
so you can say like that each user's
Okay.
request will be processed through each worker, and the moment the users will stop using the website, that user, the worker will be clearing from the process table. So as long as that session is active, the worker will be active. The worker process will be active in the web server.
So in a corporate environment whereby like they have about like over 500 people processing that, like how would you test that?
Yeah, so for that you will have a multiple web server, no, not only one. So here one server, two server, three server, four server, five server. So let's say if you have a 500 and each server, let's say you say each handle can 100. So you set up the 100 for that configuration, restart the Nginx server. So this will handle 100, 100, 100, 100, 100 like that and become a 500. So that is the capacity planning you do before getting into the production. And
One more question: is it possible to scale based on the request in Kubernetes?
No, and this is not auto scaling. No, that feature you have in the AWS. So that this is out of scope actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is something which you can configure. So yeah, the main context is very highest level. I think it covered actually. So yeah, there's a multiple context which we have. So the event context is used to define the connection processing directives. That is a number of connection assigned to each worker processes. So here events. So here you set here you set the worker processes, let's say, but here using the events you can assign the number of connections. So here if you see that one worker can handle up to 768 worker connections actually. That means this many users can be handled.
If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devops.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.